All right. So thanks everyone for joining me today. I'm super excited to be here and share a little bit more about our work with LearnFresh, the organization, as well as our program NBA Math Hoops. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of the context and history of how the program was developed, what impact we've seen through it, and then I really want to spend some good time in the second half of my half hour just walking you through what the program experience looks like, how you all can engage and participate this fall. We've been affected by COVID like everyone else, but have put in place some pretty strong pivots that we're excited to share with the community that will hopefully be able to serve you well as we look towards next school year and all the work that you're going to be doing. Foundationally, our work with LearnFresh is really centered around using sports and entertainment to engage students in foundational STEM and social emotional learning. So we see a strong linkage between those two spaces, and we want to use student passion points to really drive their motivation in the classroom. The NBA Math Hoops program is actually first built by an educator, Tim Scheit, who's based in San Diego, California. So he built the game in his own classroom, the board game that's really at the center of the program that you can see on the screen here. And he used it over the course of a decade, really refining it with his students, building an infrastructure around it that now is at the core of our program experience that we run in partnership with educators, schools, and teams across the country. It's been a really incredible journey. Over 20 years of development have gone into the program and product, and we're at a point now where we're really just beginning to scale. So it's been a really slow and steady process that's allowed us to lay a really strong foundation to share with you all. Just to talk a little bit about, what are we looking to do as an organization? What is the positioning of this program? We're a nonprofit entity, and we do have a mission focus for our work. Only 54% of American eighth graders from low-income families scored at or above basic on the 2019 NAEP assessment, National Assessment for Educational Progress. So essentially 1 out of every 2 students, when they get to the end of middle school, are not necessarily prepared to take that step to upper-level math classes in high school. And there's also been such a strong correlation in the research between achievement and engagement in math, as well as predictive qualities of middle school math performance as it relates to high school graduation. So as an organization, we really see ourselves as an entity that sits in this space, helping students develop a strong foundation and base for their fundamental math education, as well as strong social emotional development, and using that base to help guide them into upper level math in high school. Some differentiators are things that I just want to share about who we are as an organization and how the program has developed. As I mentioned, it's been a long process, and it's been a teacher developed and implemented process. So most of the folks on our team now are educators and folks who have worked in the classroom at some point. So it's been an incredibly grassroots initiative, despite the fact that it does have this global brand attached to it. Curriculum is equally applicable across in-school and out-of-school time spaces, which is one of the things that I really love about the work, is that oftentimes you'll see classroom teachers using it in the school space and after-school program using it. So it can be a strong link there, as well as at home. Since COVID has hit the country, we've seen thousands of families across the country actually playing the NBA Math Hoops game at home as well. The program is, directly integrates social emotional learning into the STEM learning context, which I think is one of the things we've tried to focus on in the recent years. We've seen that the gameplay environment for NBA Math Hoops very much feels like a basketball season or a basketball game, and it creates many of the same emotions that you would feel on the court. We bring those into the classroom. So we've really tried to be intentional about highlighting how students can continue to learn and develop that side of themselves through the program. And then just looking at sports related interventions in this space. We're the only nonprofit to receive royalty-free license from the NBA. So we're able to use their brand at no cost, which means that we can provide the program to you all at no cost. And it's a really awesome experience to just build authenticity into the program. Outcomes and measurement have been at the core of what we've done for a long time. We have a program report for folks who are super interested in knowing more about what we do. But foundationally, we're trying to improve students' fundamental math skills, improve their social emotional awareness and development, and increase their engagement in math learning. And as you can see here from some of these charts, year over year, we've seen that the program has been transformative for students from communities of color, particularly Black students, Latinx students, as well as for female students. So a lot of our girls actually outperform or outgrow a lot of our boys who participate in the program. Also looking at outcomes from the social emotional side, we've for a number of years now embedded a Sears modeled assessment into our pre and post model that just gives students a chance to reflect on how they see themselves as leaders, how they see themselves as teammates, etc. And this data here, looking at how students agree or strongly agree with the statement over time, there's pretty consistent trends in terms of students who participate in the program versus those from the same learning environments who don't. So we're just sharing this all with you to just know that aside from the fact that the program is branded MBA, etc., this is something that's been rigorously developed and evaluated over a really long period of time now, and we're excited to share that depth with you all. So I just want to share a quick video. This is just a look at how our program is traditionally implemented. So this will give you a flavor for what this looks like when students are playing in person. The game is super interactive. Students play in teams of 2 against another team of 2. And we often, when the world is in a little bit more of a normal place, we'll implement events in partnership with NBA teams. So actually students can go to the arena, they can have a really authentic experience and kind of see the broader application of the learning outside of the classroom. We've replicated this now in a virtual environment in some ways, but I think there's a lot of power in showing you this. So this will be about 2.5 minutes.
Hey Dub Nation, Matt Hurwitz with you at the Rockets in Performance Center for the 4th annual Warriors Math Hoops Championship. We have 100 of the Bay Area's top math hoops teams competing to win the coveted trophy right here. Let's go check it out.
Team number 2.
Put your shirts on. That's awesome. Look how big this thing is. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Hey, get it out. Well, I thought way bigger than yours. It's nice. Oh my God. Oh, let's go take a picture. You have to kneel.
Welcome to the 4th Math Hoops Tournament.
What's up, guys? So who's gonna win today? Any takers?
Are you ready for Math Hoops? 3, 2, 1, let's play!
We had a really great tournament of kids really learning about the importance of using math. Math is going to be an essential element in almost everything a young person do in their life. So it's really amazing that we get to talk to them about the fundamentals and really how to apply that in a fun way and to not see it as just math, but see it as something fun.
So at LearnFresh, we believe that fundamental education, the skills that students need to learn, basic math, core social emotional skills, are things that are critical for students not only now in their education, but throughout their life. So through this program and through our partnership with the Warriors, we hope to be able to deliver these core fundamental skills to students in a way that's engaging and relevant to their lives, both in the classroom and outside of it.
I was in this tournament last year. I made the Elite 8, but then I lost. It feels pretty surreal and cool that I actually made the finals and won. I'm really excited. I can't talk a lot right now because the adrenaline is still running through my body. But otherwise, yeah, I'm just really excited. Oh yeah, I'm going to a Warriors game. Yeah, that's pretty cool too. I've never been to an NBA game, but it's true.
So to move forward here, I just want to share a little bit about what the experience is going to look like for 2020-21, because this will be super relevant for the folks on the call. Just walk through the ways that you can engage with the products. And we plan on doing in-depth trainings, 1.5 to 2 hour trainings in the fall virtually, so that all of you who want to engage can do so. The NBA Math Hoops board game has always been at the center of the program. That is something that we want to continue to do. We've been spending the last couple months, and we'll be spending the next couple months actually digitizing that experience so that a similar edition of the board game can be available in whatever space you're engaging students. One of the things that we're thinking about moving forward, obviously there's the COVID situation which we're dealing with now, which will likely lead to a range of different scenarios in terms of how school and after school is shaped in the fall. But even beyond that, just thinking about equity in terms of access to technology, et cetera, we're committed to having both a digital edition of the game and a physical edition of the game available, so that no matter what space you're working in, you can access the experience with your students. The game is supported by a wraparound curriculum. It's about 60 to 65 pages or so, and it includes fundamental math lessons as well as social emotional reflection pieces. Starts with a sportsmanship contract where students can actually sign up for the experience, walks their way through the season to a championship tournament at the end of the year. So it very much looks and feels like a basketball season and integrates the core math concepts that are embedded within that. And then we do have a mobile app that's free to download on Android and iOS. And that takes some of the core skills that are embedded in the game and some other skills K-8 that are kind of foundational for math and puts them in basically a practice setting for students to work on. So I'm going to just preview a couple of things for you here, talk through how you would tactically engage with this. And then once I work through this a little bit, I'll open up the floor to any questions that folks might have just so we can address those before I wrap up. The core hub of the program in the fall is going to be this online league space. So you as an educator will actually be able to sign up, create your own league, have your students sign up, have them within the league infrastructure, and then all of your students will have their own team. So they'll be able to draft a team of NBA and WNBA players, earn and add players to the team over time, and play the game, whether it's in a physical or digital setting, kind of based off of this infrastructure. The game itself includes real players across both leagues. So one of the coolest parts of the product is that it's going to include every player in both the NBA and WNBA. The physical edition includes a subset of 64 players representing all of the teams in both of the leagues. And for the digital edition, we're actually working with the NBA right now and integrating real-time data. So it's not necessarily going to be available at launch in September, but during the school year, we'll be integrating a functionality into the game where as students go in and play each night, willing that the NBA is playing throughout the next year, the students will actually be able to manipulate and work with real-time data. So when they go in every single day, that the stats will look different and they will need to make evaluations and judgments for their team based upon that. The game itself will look and feel just like the board game. So the board that you see at the center of this image right here is the board that you would receive if you were to use the in-person physical game in the classroom. And the game is pretty cool for a couple of reasons. One, you see all those numbers on the court. Students are actually working with foundational basic operations in every single turn. So essentially there are two numbers that are randomized. They need to add, subtract, multiply, and divide those numbers. And then they identify positions on the court to take shots from based upon the numbers that they calculate. So that kind of foundational component of mathematics, which is so central in third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, is embedded right into the process of taking a turn. And then students use player statistics. There are actual physical player cards that are in the board game edition to decide which player they want to use to take the shot. So they're essentially manipulating, working with statistics, reasoning out how to use the data to make informed decisions over the course of gameplay. That entire process looks exactly the same whether you're using the digital or physical edition. So this really sits at the center of the program. If you were to participate and engage your students with NBA Math Hoops, you would have access to this and they would be able to play as much as they want to, whether it's in your learning space or outside of it at home. In addition to the game, so I mentioned that there are a number of curriculum pieces that come along with the experience. We have a curriculum that basically is meant to uplift some of the core math concepts that are embedded into the gameplay and put them into a context where students can do a deeper analysis. So whether it's mathematically oriented, talking about what does the field goal percentage look like in the game of basketball? How do you calculate that? What does that data look like? Graphing of data, etc. Or thinking about certain core social emotional competencies that are embedded into the game, whether that be resilience or teamwork or integrity, different skill sets that students need to uplift as they're engaging with one another. The curriculum really has an equal balance or dosage of both of those two concepts, which I think fits really well in the out-of-school time space where a lot of character education normally can happen. So that curriculum is something that's provided to all educators who are participating in the program as well. If you were to use the game with your students, you would have access to the full wraparound curriculum to engage them. And then the mobile app is something that we've actually been able to engage our developers around a lot more deeply this summer. So if you download it right now, you'll see a 3-point contest in there focused on basic operations, fully NBA branded, free to download across Android and iOS. This summer, we're in the process of building out a number of other gameplay experiences that are going to expand the content within the app to be fairly comprehensive K-8. So everything from number sense, number identification, using jerseys on the back, the numbers on the back of jerseys, to geometry, whether it be shape identification or work with angles, etc. All of that within the context of a skills challenge on the court. If you've ever watched NBA All-Star Saturday Night, like a lot of the same games that you see there will be things that will show up in the app. And one of the last things that I'll just share is that if you're an educator and you're using this program, we're actually going to have back-end functionality built in where you can assign mini games to students through the app. So let's say you're playing the board game with your kids, they're really loving it, you want them to work on certain skill sets outside of their time away from you, you'll be able to upload those and push them out to their app so that they can have access to it. Last couple pieces here to share. Obviously, all those things that I just introduced to you are really student-facing, so they're things that the students will engage with directly. This infrastructure, the LearnFresh Coaches Association, we call it, is really meant for you, the educator. So it's an online space where you get access to weekly tips related to all the lesson pieces, tutorial videos, a community forum so you can ask questions of our staff and other members of our community, access to sign up for events, access to our pre and post testing system. So all of that infrastructure is really consolidated into one space for you so that it's super organized and easy to work off of. And again, this is something that you'll be introduced to right when you sign up for the program. It's something that is really core to the LearnFresh experience, and it's something that's provided, again, at no cost. And then the last thing is just program events. So we tried to show you that video from an in-person tournament, but whether it's an in-person experience, which we hope to do at some point in the future, or a virtual tournament, which we're doing right now, this national tournament bracket is actually launching next week. So from July 13th to August 13th, we're live streaming 63 games with students from across the country as part of this virtual tournament. We're committed to creating spaces where students from different places can come together and have some real meaningful exchange around the program. So whether that's the tournament series, which we will run in some form next spring, or the educator training series that we will offer up to everyone in the fall, there will be opportunities for you to engage with the broader Math Hoops and LearnFresh community through the program. It's a staple of how we set up the experience. So with that in mind, just the last piece of information that I want to share before we dive into any questions that folks have. The program will launch in the fall with a series of virtual trainings. So we have historically done in-person hands-on sessions with folks. Like everyone else in the world, we're pivoting to accommodate you in this space. So what those are going to look like, 2-hour training sessions for educators over Zoom, starting in the middle to latter part of September. They'll be team-based, meaning that we'll partner with the Warriors in the Bay Area or the Clippers in LA or the Cavaliers in Cleveland to hold a team-focused session. So you'll be able to learn about all the specific things that a team that's geographically proximate to you is doing to support your work. And then in addition to that, we're going to host regular weekly sessions throughout the entire school year, just giving anyone, anywhere a chance to access the program. The funded regions for us are now essentially the entire country, so there's no cost for educators to participate. That the program distribution becomes super efficient for us in the digital space. So we're super excited to just get as many folks on board who want to use this awesome tool with your students as possible. If you do want to access the training in the fall, I definitely invite you to just go to the link that's there. Maybe we can share this out afterwards, but it's a super short form, just letting us know who you are, where you're from, what grades you're working with, so that we can make sure to plug you into any of the virtual trainings that we're offering starting in September. Awesome. So are there any questions that folks have?
Nick, this is Tia. Someone posed a question in the chat. Cheryl from Texas is asking, is this game geared for 7th and 8th grade also?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I may not have been specific in the introduction. The product is specifically built for 4th to 8th grade. That's the full range. I would say that the game itself can be played without the support of the curriculum on the younger end of things. So 4th, 5th, 6th graders that work with operational fluency, super impactful. When you add in the curriculum and kind of the wraparound experience of analyzing data and statistics, the middle school experience becomes super rich. So we have plenty of upper middle school level students participating. The full range nationally at our national championship tournament, we've accepted students from 3rd to 9th grade. So depending upon where students are at academically on the fringes of that range, it can certainly be applicable. Well, we're super excited to engage folks. We can offer this at whatever scale you need within your program. If you're looking to just do it with a group of 10 students, that's great. If you have a whole network of sites and you want to use it with hundreds of kids, that's great too. So feel free to reach out. Please complete the form, share your interest with us, and then we'll make sure that you're looped into our community for the fall.